All right, nice to see you guys again, Mr. B. Mr. B, what are we doing today? All right, so today we're gonna learn how to evaluate expressions using substitution, okay? In other words, what does that mean? Whatever we see a letter, we call a variable. Instead of that variable, we're gonna put what it's worth. We're gonna put the value instead of the variable, okay? So let's look at this first example. He says, simplify expression when n is equal to 4. What does that mean? It means wherever you see an n, you're going to put the value, okay? That's where that word evaluate comes from, okay? So what's the value of n, okay? The n is 4. The value of n is 4. That means instead of n, you're going to put 4. So we use variables when we don't know what the value is. We don't know the value, we put a variable, okay? If I don't know the price of a video game, I could put X. Once I know the price of that video game, let's say it's $50, I'm going to write X is $50. So I don't need to write X anymore. I could just write $50. So that's what we're going to do right now. Whatever we see an N, we're gonna put the value, which is 4, because we know it's 4. They tell us here, hey, we know what n is. N is 4, so you don't need to write that letter anymore, that variable anymore. Just instead of that, put 4. Okay, so let's do that and have some fun. Okay, so for A, we have n plus 12. We're gonna evaluate, meaning we're gonna figure out how much is this expression. This is an expression, sentence in algebra, we call expression. How much is it worth? Once we know that n is 4, how much is it worth? So instead of n, we're gonna put 4 because we know that n is 4. They tell us that. So n is 4. And to that, we're going to add 12. And 4 plus 12, we get 16. So when we evaluate A, is going to give us 16, the value. How much is it? It's 16, okay? All right, we're going to do the same thing for 2. So 2, I'm sorry, not 2, B. For B, instead of n, we're going to put the value of n. So B is 12 minus whatever the value of n. Imagine it's a little box that's waiting for the value. So here they tell us, hey, you don't need to write n anymore. Just put 4 instead of that. So I'm going to put the 4 here. And now we're going to evaluate, see what it's worth. What's 12 minus 4? Well, that's 8. So this is 8. The value of B is 8. Let's move to the next one. The next one is 12n, which is C, is 12n. Okay, this one is a little bit tricky, so you have to be careful. Okay, so we do 12 and we put n in there, which is 4, right? But the tricky part here, if I just do it as is, I put 12 and then I put the n next to it, this is gonna look like 124. But in reality, this is not 124. Why is that? Because between the 12 and the n, there is an invisible multiplication, okay? There is an invisible multiplication. We don't write it, but we know it's there, okay? So once you put the value of n, which is 4, make sure now you have to write the multiplication, because if you don't, it's going to look like 124. And in this case, it's not 124. It's 12 times 4. So be careful. Once you evaluate in expressions and you put the value of n, you no longer can leave it without writing the multiplication, okay? If it's like this, you don't have to write the multiplication in between. But once you put the number, you need to put the invisible multiplication in between. All right, so what's 12 times 4? Well, that's 48. Okay, so this is 48. Beautiful. All right, I see you guys are doing awesome. All right, so I'm gonna pause and I want you guys to do D, E, and this example here. So do this and practice, and then we do it together, okay? So go ahead. Do it, do it, do it, just do it. All right, so hopefully you took a couple of minutes to do each one. So let's see if you did it correctly. All right, so we have D is 12. And there is this symbol here. And there is an N in the denominator in the bottom, plus 3, okay? So this symbol, I hope you guys remember that it just means division. It's just another way we write division, that's all. That's where fractions came from. It's easy to write it with that symbol. So this says 12 divided by n plus 4. So 12 divided, and n is 4 plus 3, okay? And 12, when you divide 12 divided by 4, you get 3 plus 3, and 3 plus 3, you get 6. So this should give you 6. That's my 6. It doesn't look cute, but that's 6. All right? You got 6? Then do the dance. Do the dance. Do the dance. All right, so let's look at the next one. Next one, just the same, except this time the n is on the numerator. The n is on the top. So we have n on top, division 12 plus 4. Okay, so instead of n, we put the value. In this case, it's 4. So it is 4 over 12 plus 4. Okay. And here we have to simplify the fraction by dividing top and bottom by 4 to reduce it. So 4 divided by 4, we get 1. And 12 divided by 4, we get 3 plus 4, okay? So this is 4 and 1/3. So you could just write it as 4. And the 1/3, you write it up here. That's how we get those mixed numbers. This says 4 and 1/3. 4 and 1/3. All right, good job, guys. I know you could do it. All right, so let's do the last one. We got 2x plus 8. And we're going to substitute, in this case, instead of x, we're going to put 4, okay? And I want you guys to remember what we did in the previous example. Between the 2 and the x, all right, you got to be careful there. What's between the 2 and the x? We don't write it, but it's there. What's between? I know you know it. There's a multiplication here, that invisible multiplication. So be careful with that when you take out the x and you put 4 instead of that. So it's 2 times, and this box is where the x goes, plus 8. So it's 2 times, what goes in the box is what they tell us. Put 4 there, plus 8. And then we do 2 times 4 is 8, and plus this 8 on the right. And 8 plus 8 is 16. So this is going to give us 16. You get it? You get it? I know you got it. I know you got it. You with Mr. B. Of course you're going to get it. So do the dance. All right. Good job, guys. And I'm going to see you on the next video. All right.